Hey everyone, and welcome to the English Effect. Today we're diving into something that's, well, absolutely essential for all of us, the human body. We're going to build up your vocabulary so you can talk about it confidently. Whether you're at the doctor's office or just chatting about your day. So, have you ever been in that situation? You feel a strange pain or you're trying to explain an injury and you just can't find the right words in English? Yeah, it's a super common problem, but don't worry, we're going to tackle it today. And really, this isn't just about passing some test, it's about being able to take care of yourself. So let's get started on our tour of the human body. We're going to start right at the top and work our way all the way down to the toes. And trust me, by the time we're done, you'll be naming all these key parts like a pro.
All right, let's kick things off with our upper body tour. First up, we'll be looking at everything from the head on down to the torso.
First on our list is the head. You can think of it as the body's command center, right? It's so important to protect it. That's why you'll often hear a really practical warning, like, be careful not to bump your head on the low ceiling. Okay, moving down, we have the neck. This is what connects your head to the rest of your body, and it's a really vital and delicate area. That's why after an accident, one of the very first things a paramedic will do is carefully check to see if you can move your neck from side to side. Right at the base of the neck, we've got the shoulders. These are just incredible joints, aren't they? They're what connect your arms to your body, and they give you that amazing range of motion for lifting, throwing, and, reaching for that top shelf. Now, right between the neck and the abdomen is the chest. It basically acts as a protective shield for your heart and your lungs. So it makes sense that if a doctor suspects an internal injury, say after an accident, they might order an X-ray to get a closer look and check for any damage to the chest. Okay, that covers the main torso. Now let's move on to something we use all the time, our arms. We'll explore everything from the shoulder right down to the fingertips. So, the arm is the entire limb, all the way from your shoulder down to your hand. You'll hear this word a lot in a medical setting. For example, a nurse might say they need to gently lift your arm to wrap a bandage. Right in the middle of the arm, we have the elbow. And think about it for a second. This one simple joint is what lets you bend your arm. Can you imagine if we couldn't? Our arms would just be stiff planks. Not very useful, right? Moving a little further down, we get to the wrist. This super flexible joint connects your hand to your forearm. It's an area that's unfortunately really easy to injure if you fall. And as the sentence says, he fell and injured his wrist, so he can't lift heavy things. It really makes you realize how much you use it. And now we've arrived at the hand itself, which is one of the most complex and intricate parts of the whole body. Its main job, of course, is to help us hold and grasp all sorts of objects, from something super delicate like a pen to something much heavier. And at the very end of our hands are, of course, our fingers. They're incredibly useful, but wow, they are also pretty delicate. I think we've all had that little wince, right? The thought of someone trapping their fingers in a car door. Ouch! It's a very painful reminder to be careful. Okay, before we move on, I want you to take a look at this. This quote from a sports study is the perfect setup for our next section. It says, the most common injuries happen in the legs, knees, ankles, feet, and hip. So you can see why knowing this vocabulary is so important, especially if you're an active person. So with that in mind, let's dive into our lower body tour. These are the parts of our body that really give us our mobility. They let us walk, run, and jump. Basically, they get us from A to B. We're going to start at the top with the hip, that powerful joint connecting the leg to the torso. Hip injuries from a fall can be really serious, which is exactly why you hear that older people have to be especially careful. All right, the upper part of your leg is called the thigh. And get this, it has some of the absolute strongest muscles in your entire body. You use them for pretty much everything, from just standing up to sprinting at full speed. Next up is the knee, the crucial joint that connects the thigh to the lower leg. Now, this is an area that's really prone to injury, especially for athletes. You've probably even heard of runner's knee, which is a common term for that pain you can get right in the front of the knee. Moving further down the leg, we find the ankle. This joint is totally essential for the foot's mobility, but man, is it easy to injure. Just like the sentence says, ankle injuries often happen from a simple misstep on uneven ground. I think we've all been there. Okay, let's look at the foot itself, and we'll start with the heel. That's the back part of your foot, right below the ankle, that usually hits the ground first. And it can be a common source of sharp pain for runners, especially if they've been training on hard surfaces like concrete. And our tour of the body wraps up with the toes.
They play this super important role in helping us balance. And believe me, it is always a huge relief after some kind of accident to find out that you don't have any broken toes.
And there you have it, a complete tour of the body from head to toe. But just hearing the words is only the first step. The real magic happens when you start to use them. So it's your turn to practice.
Practice is absolutely key to making new vocabulary stick. So here's a really simple 3-step plan to get you started. First, choose 3 new words from today's lesson. Second, write 1 complete sentence for each of those words. And third, and this is important, say your new sentences out loud. Actually speaking the words helps lock them into your memory.
And that's a wrap for this explainer on the human body. I really hope you're feeling more confident with all this new vocabulary. But now I have a question for you. What part of the body do you want to learn more about? Maybe the internal organs? Or the 5 senses? Let me know. Drop your suggestions down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.